And this is a pitch competition, and we are lucky to have the winners of Nashville's 3686 pitch competition with us today, and we're going to have a little chat with them. Dr. Kim Quigley, if you will take the stage. Yes. No, it's okay. You don't have to be scared. Dr. Kim and Derrick Furlow Jr. Kim is the there we go. So Kim is the CEO and founder of Onrise. Derrick is the Chief Athletic Officer, and they recently took home the $10,000 prize in Nashville only like a couple of weeks ago. And we are proud to have you, here in Knoxville. Kim, with over 20 years experience as a psychiatrist, and Derrick, you walked onto the Vols, my friend. You played as a Vol football player, so Vol for life. Let's go. Come on. So in this room, we've got several hundred entrepreneurs, and Onrise Care is about mental health care for athletes. Today, we're going to talk about the why. If you want to hear the what, come to Raising and Rising on Thursday. But today, the why. In this room, something that athletes and entrepreneurs have in common is nearly 50% of us will basically self-report that we have mental health issues, right? And the other 50% are lying. What are some of the things that led you to say to these 50% of athletes or more at any given time in their lives that they need this kind of care on demand in a way that only you can deliver? Kim, I'll start with you.
Wow, that's a great question. Hi, everybody. So I was an athlete here 20 years ago and used it to de-stress from all the hard things going on in high school. And I went off to college and realized that college sports got really stressful really quickly. And at that point, I also lost one of my closest student-athlete friends to suicide. I left here, went up to D.C. to go to school in 1993 when I graduated from Webb. And I've just always really been committed to mental health at that time. And athletics was always a part of that. So I always left my practice open because I knew inherently back then, and it was far less stressful back then than it is now, that athletes had a barrier to care. I didn't really know why. I started to figure that out after a lot of years of working in population health and understanding why certain groups go to the doctor and why certain groups don't go to the doctor, that I really figured out that athletes are an underserved population. People don't talk about that a lot, but once you get into a certain pipeline of athletics, once you hit 13, 14, get into travel where other people have stakes in whether you continue athletics, getting mental health care becomes exceedingly difficult at that point. So I continued to see that through COVID, the referrals that I was getting from very, very sick individuals who were much sicker than they should have been is really when I thought we need to do something about this. Fortunately, I had come through. It was right about the same timing that Lakeshore. I worked at Lakeshore, so I was one of the last physicians to shut down Lakeshore, which was an amazing experience, and then walked into the entrepreneurial experience as we were charged to do, to say go out and make the solutions that you want. Took me a little more time because I have 3 kids, but by the time I figured it out, I was ready to go of what that model would look like and what would be the most acceptable models to athletes, and then I got to meet Derrick. And then from then on, it's history.
Well, Derrick, what led you to come on board? Again, walking on, right, in 06. No playing time, and then 08 and 09, lighting it up on special teams. So you had to learn so much patience. I can only imagine to then go out there and achieve at such a high level. What led you to partner with Kim in something that you obviously care so much about?
Well, it goes back in 05.
Sorry.
But it goes back because my senior year in 2005, as getting highly recruited, I have an ACL injury, and the business of athletics takes hold because all the people that were recruiting me stopped.
Whoa.
So Tennessee came as just a place I never visited. It worked out, and they put it on the table as, hey, we got a scholarship for you if you come here, if you heal. So I bet on myself. I could have went to smaller schools, but I was already determined I wanted to play in the SEC. So having to persevere, make it through that mentally of, I seen guys that came before me get injured and it's over for them. Yeah. I got injured. nah, it ain't gonna be over for me, and I'm gonna play the SEC, and I'm gonna not go to these smaller schools because I know where I want to go, I know where I belong, and then getting here and have to earn it. So that journey itself, coming in, having to figure out who I was outside of what I did my freshman year of not playing and still healing, and then having guys that were older than me get cut, come back, or get hurt and not make it to the NFL, and realizing they came back to school because they were not sure who they was outside of what they did, and school was a safe place for them. So I just kind of seen it on my personal note earlier, make it works out for me, but I seen it from guys that were older than me. So when it all came down to it, I figured if this game doesn't work out, you got to know who you are outside of what you do. And the biggest thing, I knew the game equipped you with a lot of transferable skills, but it had never been spoken in athletic terms, or it never was given to you from somebody that can relate to you and speak your lingo. So after years of figuring it out myself and helping some of my peers, and then writing a couple books on helping athletes transition, the opportunity called COVID introduced me into the mental health space. And through some adventures not necessarily working out, it was one of the best things in disguise, because after creating SLB, athlete mental health company, trying to get athletes NIL deals with mental health companies, thinking I was gonna work with probably about 5 different clinicians, I get some messages, and there's Dr. Quigley on the other side. And we had a chance to sit down. She knew the doctor side of it. I knew the athlete side of it from personal experience and from my peers. And we could actually create something that was for the athlete, by the athlete, speak their lingo, and help them understand. Because it's coming from somebody that's been there, done it, lived it, and can relate to them. And we had the medical side. So that was kind of the overall journey.
Well, and again, kind of bringing it back, a little bit to this entrepreneurial journey too. So many of us, myself included, are terrible at asking for that help when you need it, because we are as an athlete or as an entrepreneur, we're taught to know, to strive, to move forward, to push through, sometimes to the point of injury and beyond, right? And so, Kim, very specifically, particularly for younger athletes, I understand, and tell me if I'm wrong, but for women under 30 that are high-achieving athletes, there's like a 25 to 30% chance of developing an eating disorder, right? That's like, there's all of these things that are so specific to high achievers. What are some of the ways that you've found to deal with that and to bring them into, Derrick, you said the word, into a safe space in a competitive environment?
So the concept of shared experience, which is what Onrise is based on. In mental health, there are a couple reasons mental health companies have difficulty scaling. It's finding licensed clinicians that understand what you've been through. So the basis of our treatment, along with all of our licensed clinicians, is peer support. I think it's exceedingly important for everybody where they're at to have a peer. When I say peer, I don't necessarily mean someone who's in the same place, maybe a peer 10, 15 years down the road from you, to spend time with on a pretty regular basis. And that's really the basis of, our company's not magic in that way. It's magic when all of those pieces come together and work together at scale, as we've seen with the number of athletes that we're taking care of now. But it's always finding that person that's been there, as Derrick says, been there, done it. And that's true, really, the Onrise model, we definitely started with athletes, but it really is able to come across to founders and first responders, teachers.
Anyone in a high-pressure situation. So, Derrick,
Right.
We've just got a little bit of time here, but sort of follow up a little bit on that. As the Chief Athletic Officer, how do you work to pair people effectively and efficiently so you get that sometimes intergenerational model, right? Where you see someone that's come before, but sometimes you get cross skill sets, all that. How do you guys approach that?
So it's kind of funny. We initially, we're going to be very sport specific. So if you played lacrosse and you came in, we was going to pair you with a lacrosse player. However, in the mix of, I think, an athlete's unlimited contract, we had the lacrosse team onboarded, and we had a superstar WNBA former player and former Vol, Alexis Hornbuckle, doing some work. And once they got paired, she did the onboarding. And the lacrosse professionals were so excited because it was a high-level elite athlete who they could relate to from the experience level of just playing at a high level, but they could actually teach their sport to her, and they didn't necessarily care that she didn't play the sport. So at that moment there, we had this aha moment. It's a respect thing. Game, recognized game, expertise, skill level respected. You done been there, done it, lived it, and achieved something. So, hey, I can listen to you. I can relate to you. Thank you for helping me.
You should see Alexis Hornbuckle play lacrosse. She said if I had played this in the streets, like, I'd never be here playing basketball. She loves it so much. It's been really funny to watch.
Well, and if you do want to learn more about some of your clients, like, I don't know, the Women's National Hockey Association, Inter Miami, One Knox.
U.S. Women's National Soccer Team.
U.S.
Won
Women's
gold.
National Soccer Team.
Yeah.
So when we say they're working at a high level, we mean it. And we would love for you to join us Thursday morning with our friends at CGI. KEC is hosting Raising and Rising. You can go to knoxcc.com and RSVP to that. Today we've learned about the why of Onrise, but I'm really, really excited for you to learn the what and the what's next. So thank you, Dr. Quigley, and thank you, Derrick.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.